got let go from my medical sales job on the morning that we got home with Savannah from the hospital.
I've never seen a top real estate agent do mortgage.
No.
You literally had to sell a car because you couldn't pay rent.
Yeah.
You just missed a call from a $2 million listing because you're sitting here trying to process a loan or do DTI.
Just go find people that need to buy and sell a house and then figure it out.
The wholesaler's fee was $40,000. I'm like, no.
I'm probably not going to do business with you, and I'm probably not going to do life with you. And I'm okay with that because you're probably not someone I'm going to connect with.
Like they always say, the wealth is in the niches.
It's good to know who your competition is, don't get me wrong. But to focus too much on that, I just think you're going to be in your head, and then it's going to limit your ability to connect with people, and connecting with people is the whole business.
Blake Nelle, realtor, investor, father, Newport Beach realtor. Blake, welcome
Thanks
to the
for
show.
I'm in the real estate and the real estate of mine.
Blake Nelle, this is episode 7. Guys, he's lucky number 7. I really appreciated him coming on. I guess before I introduce him, quick story. I met Blake at an open house. We got along really well. There was an OC Register guy there taking pictures.
Sergio was there.
Sergio was there. We got into we got on a magazine. What was the magazine?
We're in the newspaper.
Yeah, we got those OC Register.
OC Register.
Those OC Register. Surprised they're still around.
Which I didn't know about until a client sent it to me, and I was like, and I asked him, I go, how do I buy a newspaper?
Yeah, so I think they're pretty much only online now. But anyway, guys, I got Blake Nelle, realtor, investor, father, Newport Beach realtor. Blake, welcome
Thanks
to
for
the
having
show.
me.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. I know
how hard it is to do this because I used to have one. So it's like I was on time.
Yeah,
I was like, I am
it.
not gonna because I had so many people when I was doing mine flake and be late, and I was just like, that's why I stopped doing it.
Yeah, obviously, man, it's hard to depend on people, but so far so good. I've had some really good guests. My insurance guy was a good guest. I had another guy that owns a brokerage. Actually, 2 guys that own brokerages back to back. They were both really good guests. A lot of good content and. I'm hoping you bring that fire, Blake.
Oh, I'm going to try. There's only 1 million realtors, so hopefully I can.
No, you stand out, man. Unique. You stood out to me at least. Yeah, like I said, we got along pretty well. We have a lot in common in terms of family, work life, faith.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll get into all of that. But I guess just to introduce the audience to yourself, if you could just talk a little bit about yourself, kind of where you grew up. Where you come from and your background and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I grew up in Northern California. Some people say Northern California. They think like Bay Area or like Palo Alto or something. Unfortunately, it wasn't like a cool
Across
Northern California.
From, Facebook.
Yeah, no, it was like the Central Valley, Stanislaus County. It's like just mostly farming, in a little town called Turlock. And my dad went to Turlock High School, and I went to high school there. And then right when I graduated, I went off to University of Nevada, Reno for 1 year.
Oh, okay.
And then I transferred to Santa Monica College. And so 2012 was my first year in Southern California. So I've been here for about 12 years now.
Year.
Yeah,
it's 2024
which is crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, came down to SoCal to try to transfer into UCLA as a junior.
Mm-hmm.
Then I didn't get in because I couldn't pass calculus because I'm a salesperson and not an engineer. And that was probably a good thing because I was, I think
I didn't pass either.
Yeah,
I got an F, man. I'm not gonna lie.
I did it back to back. Like I did the fall semester and literally got like a D, and then I had a tutor and everything. I was like really dedicated, and it was like Chinese to me, and then I did it in the winter semester, like back to back, to try to like salvage it.
Did you take calculus again?
I did it back to back. It was miserable.
The problem with calculus, so I would there would be a bunch of homework.
Right.
And in college, you don't need to do the homework because the homework's not graded.
Yeah.
And then you go to the test and it's literally
it's
Chinese.
all the homework. Yeah.
And
you're like, oh, I should have done the homework.
Yeah, no. So
I did the homework and I had it's a whole
I didn't
thing.
do anything.
So
You're better than
then
me.
I met some friend. I was going to a church in LA called Reality LA at the time, And literally it was just like, after worship or whatever, the pastor was like, oh, like turn around, say hi to someone. So I turned around and there was like all these guys behind me, and they happened to go to Biola, which is a private Christian school in La Mirada, which is like technically LA County, but like right on the border of OC and LA. And Carl Homeland, shout out Carl. Carl was super nice, and we just met there, and I was just like, oh, like, are you guys in school? And they were like, looked like my age. I'm like, yeah. Like, where do you go? He's like, Biola. I'd never heard of it. So I ended up going and checking it out, applying, got in, and then that's where I met my wife. We now have 2 daughters, 5 years old, Savannah, and 3 months old, Audrey. So we met there, graduated there with a business degree, and then I was really into CrossFit at the time. I was CrossFit coach, personal trainer. I was managing a CrossFit gym. I was like CrossFit guy.
I feel like that was a fad. I don't know. Are they still around?
Yeah, they're still around. They're still around.
I got into it a little bit too.
Yeah, I was like 10 years. Like I was really hardcore and really wanted to use my business degree to like run gyms and kind of do like the fitness thing. And then I don't know, I got burnt out, and I was kind of like, I don't know that I want my entire life to be inside of a gym forever.
Right.
And I just didn't see really a path to, now with like the, with Instagram and social media and all the like online, fitness models, like that makes a lot of sense. Like some guys have done extremely well.
Right.
But that wasn't, I wasn't maybe wrong time or whatever. But so then I went into medical sales, hated it, got my real estate license, got let go from my medical sales job on the morning that we got home with Savannah from the hospital. So we got home, and it was our first morning home from the hospital with Savannah, our firstborn. And we were living in Irvine in a 1-bedroom apartment, and I got a call from my manager that they were letting me go. And I luckily...
They just made a call, huh? They didn't...
Yeah, just a call. And I luckily had my license at that point for about 4 months. I got my license in December. I actually passed my license test so I took my license test on Monday, and I got married on Saturday, back in 2018.
Your daughter was 2019.
Daughter was 2019. Yeah. And so it was just a whirlwind. It's kind of been that way like up until even now with the second baby. So yeah, got into real estate. Was at Sotheby's in Newport. I met my former partner there, Cedric Channels. We were partners for like almost 4 years, and had a podcast together, and did a bunch of deals and learned a bunch from him. And then we had a mortgage branch as well together, and we did lending, and that was miserable. So, yeah. And then I got into flips, and I've done a handful of flips, and that's kind of where I'd like to continue to see my business go, is do more flip projects, and ultimately more like development. Like I really have a passion for like building and design and architecture, and I just I think as a realtor in the beginning of your career, you kind of just take what you can get, and so you end up like showing and selling a lot of crappy properties that aren't very inspiring, but someone needs them, and God bless them. But as I've gotten into my career and had the opportunity to be able to list some cool places, like it really has grown my passion for development, because you start to understand how the business works. You have this land, someone has the money, you have these old homes, they get torn down, someone builds a beautiful home, and they're basing it all off of the market and about what their spread's going to be, and they can calculate all that. And so that for me is like much more business minded than sometimes brokering deals is, because that's more of like, hey, we want to buy a house, great, let's go look, let's find a house.
Way more business minded.
Yeah, that's a little bit more. That's kind of like, I'm in kind of my infancy with development, but I hope that could do some really cool projects in the future.
Well, you had a lot going on, and you're still a young guy, so you had a lot going on during that time. So we're gonna unpack some of that. You kind of laid out a lot there. I saw that you went to Biola.
Yeah.
So right away I was like, oh, you're a Christian guy, you're of faith. Is that why you went to Biola?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I had never gone to private school up until that point, and like I never had, I was in public school my whole life, and then to go to a private university that was faith based and like, Biola, and I don't even know if
How is it faith based though? What do you guys do that are
So Biola stands for the Bible Institute of Los Angeles,
Oh, okay.
and it was founded like in the early 1900s in LA, and then they moved to where they are now. And so like everyone there, in order to graduate, whatever your major is, you have to minor in Bible and biblical studies. So you have to take 30 units of biblical studies.
Cool. That's actually
So it's like ends up being about 10 classes over 4 years. And I transferred in as a junior, so I knew going there was actually going to make me graduate a year later. And I still did that because there's like almost no way to transfer in as a junior not having any of the Bible classes that you would take in your first 2 years.
That's
there's
like
really
6 months worth of work.
Yeah, there's like
something?
no any way you spin it, like you're probably gonna have an extra year.
Right.
So I ended up graduating as a fifth year, and to be honest, like it wasn't like it was a great experience. I probably didn't take advantage of like all of what it had to offer because I was just
too young.
There was a lot going on. I was young. I was,
the same way.
trying to figure out what I was going to do. But like the foundation that it gave me, just like, I mean, we had to take seminar classes for Old Testament, New Testament, like Foundations of Christian Thought, which was like exploring basic philosophy and basic worldviews, which is like it's a good foundation to understand like how to process things that are going on in the world, and then also like different worldviews and different mindsets about like, I love Joe Rogan, and like Joe Rogan, to my knowledge, is not someone who would profess to be like a Christian.
No.
He's also not
It's probably neutral.
But one thing I do appreciate about him, and that's why I like his show, is like he's super open-minded. And like that's one thing that I can't stand is when people are like closed-minded, because it starts to be like very salesy, and like even to segue into like my business is like I don't
closed-minded in terms of faith or in terms of just life
in general. Like there's a lot of Christians that are like, this is the way, there's this way and that's it. This is this interpretation and that's it. And it's like, okay, that's a really short-sighted way of looking at like something that was translated from multiple different language thousands of years ago and passed down mostly orally. So it's like to say like, oh, this is exactly what this means. It's like, that's kind of like, I don't believe that. For me, it's like, and I told my wife this, and I would tell my child this, and anyone's like, I'm a Christian. It guides me in business. It guides me in like my life. Do I stand on the freeway with a sign that says like honk for Jesus? No, I don't. Do I like constantly sign off my email saying God bless? No, because that kind of stuff, to be honest, like drives me nuts because I just think it's a little bit cheesy. But
just in your face.
It's just, I just think sometimes people
use it.
They use it to like sell, and it's just like, ugh, like I just can't. That's for me. Like I if someone wants to talk about it, I'd love to talk about it. But I don't like to, I'm not a like poster child evangelist, if you will.
I know. We're talking a little bit about religion. I mean, I come from the Orthodox Church. We're like probably the first church ever to start like Christianity. So you're talking about how like
very rigid.
I don't know if I want to put this on the pod, but man, when you talk about closed-minded, I don't want to call them closed-minded, but there's a way of doing things that literally started with actually St. Mark, one of the disciples of Christ, actually started our church, and their whole thing is like, we're not changing a thing since whenever it was. The year, the year one.
Right.
It was really like the year 300 is when things really kind of got going.
And I think that's great. I think the problem is that when people start to tell people like, it's like we could go into a whole thing, but like I love that, and I am not someone that should tell them to do things differently. And just in the same way, I think they should be open to someone else interpreting things differently as well. Yeah, and everyone should allow everyone to just be like, if that's what you believe, great. If you have a disagreement, no problem with like having a thoughtful discussion about it. But what's happened in our world outside of even faith and just everything is just, it's, and I hate to like be cliche and talk about something that's everyone talks about, but like the polarization, the politicization of just like everything, of where, you know, the schooling, the you know, the gender stuff,
everything is red and blue,
the gun rights. I mean, it's just like you could just go on and on and on, and people will be like, oh, that guy is a Trumper, and that guy is a liberal, and that guy, and it's just like, I mean, those things exist for a reason. Like, they're cliches for a reason, and they're, you know, but at the same time, it's like,
or they're really just stereotypes.
They're stereotypes, right? And it's like, if you're this or that, it's like, cool, just be nice, be kind, respect others' beliefs, and then like we're all good. That's kind of like what the whole country was founded on, was just like, you know, freedom of speech, and they wanted, you know, freedom from tyranny. It's like, those are good. That's good with me. So,
yeah, no, totally. I mean, I treat everybody the way I want to be treated. So that's all you really need to do. It's the golden rule, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I know we went off on, you know, religion a little bit there, but getting back to Blake here. Blake, right after Biola, you started doing the medical sales?
No, so I was when I was at Biola, I started coaching at my first CrossFit gym.
Oh, okay, you did the gym thing.
In Anaheim Hills, Placentia. And then my former partner, Reed Worthington, shout out to Reed, he's in Texas now. He was like the head trainer at the CrossFit gym that I was at while I was in school. And he pulled me aside one day, and he texted me an address, and he goes, hey, meet me here tomorrow at whatever time. And that was actually where he opened CrossFit Lumberyard, which is where it was him and I were the only people. We started it together, and then we moved to a new location a few years down the road, and it's still going today. They're nice. In Anaheim Hills, in Placentia technically. So right after school, I graduated, and I was coaching full time, personal training, the whole deal. I was like the CrossFit guy, and then running everything. I was like designing our T-shirts. I was like, it was actually, you know, looking back, it was actually really, like, it taught me a ton. It taught me like time management. It taught me sales. It taught me so many things about just like, you know, interacting with people. And they were all different ages and different, you know, everything, backgrounds and stuff. And then during that time, I was working at Lululemon retail to just try to like make ends meet, because I was just like a poor CrossFit coach. Yeah. So I was working all week long from like 5 a.m. to like whenever, and then on the weekends I would squeeze in like usually like 3 shifts a week at Lulu. So I'd like put together like almost 20 hours. Yeah. So I was just young and broke, but like loved it. And, you know, just loved being around the people at the gym. And Lululemon like was awesome, because it was just like I would just stroll in my workout clothes and just like talk about that the whole day I was at work. And so then
working your butt off, man.
So I was around 25. I was really looking at like the writing on the wall, and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna
starting to look at the future.
I was like starting to go on Zillow, like at the time, as not even in real estate, but I would be like looking at like how much homes cost, and because my mom's been an agent.
This is way before pandemic, way before things went.
Oh nuts, this was like 2017. I left the gym in like 2017, so that was 7 years ago.
This is
so I was like 24, and left the gym and was kind of just like bopping around. And then at that time, I was like in between the gym and doing medical sales. I was trying to put together 40-hour weeks at Lulu. So I would pick up shifts. This is how I know like a lot of people in Orange County, like from all different areas. I would pick up any shift that was available. All of them.
Oh,
so like for working for Lululemon, you could pick up shifts from any location. Like if anyone was like, hey, I can't work today, does anyone want my shift? And so they called me the shift shark, because I would just pick up everything to try to piece together like a 40-hour work week, because I was just kind of like you know. And I had a business degree from a private school, and my parents were probably thinking like, what in the hell is he
working retail?
Like I just like they were so, the funny thing is and we'll talk about parenting, but like they were actually a really good example at that time and I look back now, and they weren't controlling, they weren't telling me I was screwing up, they weren't, you know, the only thing that like my mom.
You were an adult at the time though.
Yeah, but I think but they paid for my school. And they could have easily been like, hey, I didn't pay for you to go like work at Lululemon selling yoga pants.
I got a lot of
like
that.
Go get an internship, go work for a bank, go like
go get a job.
start figuring
get, like,
out
a real career job.
Right,
basically.
like you need insurance, you need blah blah blah.
Right.
They never did that, and I think they just, I don't know. Hopefully they just trusted that they had done a good enough job where I was going to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And so the only thing my mom did say, and I remember this, and they said a lot of things, but my mom said, she's like, don't waste your 20s. And so right around like 24, 25, I had like a little like quarter life crisis of like, okay, I'm like, some people that I went to school with had started to like do better, and like you could start seeing kind of a little bit of a separation. I was driving a beat up Chevy Cruze that like
You're talking about high school or college?
College.
Yeah.
Like 20, like people that like
high school people are out in,
high school people were in the Farmville. My friends all went different areas, and so I wasn't really worried about high school. But my people I graduated in business school, like they were either getting their MBA or going to law school or like whatever, doing like working at Northwestern Mutual and like the whole thing. And so I was like, so then this opportunity came from one of my mom's like best friend's son-in-law who ended up being my boss, who hired me for the medical sales job. So I was like stoked because I was like, there's a salary and there's like benefits and expense accounts, so I could pay for my gas and my mileage and da 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 da. And so I was like pretty fired up about it, and it was everything that you would expect. I was an orthopedic trauma medical sales rep, so I was on call 24/7, 365.
Why are you on call?
Because with our specific products, we specifically serviced orthopedic surgeons that did trauma cases. So like trauma is, so anytime your doctor's on call, which is like could be all hours of the night, weekends, whatever, they were taking trauma cases from like car accidents and like motorcycle accidents. And so I had to be I was in the operating room for all these different cases at any time of the day.
You're doing sales. We're in the operating room.
Okay, so that's a perfect, but so I didn't like, it's a perfect question because I didn't understand medical sales. To me, it was like, oh, like you're going to be like going to doctors' offices and like pitching them on products and like going to conferences, da da da. And what it really was, at least at the stage that I was in, because I was a scrub and I was like new and I was a junior associate, was really just standing in the operating room and making sure that the doctor that was using our products, one, we were taking down what they were using so we could send them a PO, and then two was just managing the actual equipment. So what happens is these doctors go, hey, I'm going to schedule a case to do to fix someone's broken wrist next week or whatever. You're like, okay. So then our job was whether the equipment was in the hospital or wherever it was, we had to make sure it was available at the time of surgery, and that like everything that was in it that was used was cleaned and needed to be refilled, and we had all these trays to refill these different things, and that it was a whole thing. And so really I was just like inventory management and like a courier and then like I just like would stand.
That's what I thought it would be though.
Yeah, and I
sitting in an operating room trying to be like,
so you're doing that, but then like so you're in the operating room, and looking back I could have probably done it if I really but what happened was I would see some of the older reps that were like senior guys that had been there forever, and there wasn't like any of them that I felt like oh, I want to aspire to that. Right. It wasn't like I would see a guy and be like, oh man, like I want to train with that guy and I want him to teach me everything, and it just wasn't like that. And one day I had to like meet one of our reps at a gas station off the freeway. It was like a Saturday night at like 11 o'clock or something. And I had to like meet him to give him something for one of his surgeries or something. And he had been there forever. I just remember like, and this might sound like vain, but like he was driving like this old pickup, and like he was in his scrubs, and he just looked miserable, like overweight, like balding, like gray hair, just like did not look healthy, did not look happy. He just didn't look like, I just was like, is that what, because the whole,
is this going to be my life?
Right. And if you don't want that, then it's like, well, you're not going to probably move up the ladder very well because you're not motivated. Like I'm the type of person where it's like, if the top of the mountain isn't where I want to be, I'm just going to hang out at the bottom. Like, what's the point? I'm not going to try to climb up there to get something I don't want.
No.
And so so really that was the time where I did my license test, and I like got my license. I did all my classes, and because I was like, I think I need a backup. And then lo and behold, the guy that hired me left the hospital with like just me, and so like all the doctors were really upset. stopped using us, and then they shut down our territory, and then that was right around the same time
So
that
you knew you were going to get let go.
I kind of had, I kind of was like,
kinda,
I started seeing, I'm like,
the writing's on the wall.
I need to like figure this out, and my wife was pregnant, and so I was just like, okay. So anyway, so that's like, so long story long, I got my license, we got married, had Savannah, and then I got let go, and I literally had like I don't know. I had like $8,000 to my name or something. I was so broke.
$8,000 sounds, yeah.
And we were in a 1-bedroom apartment in
Orange
Irvine.
County. It's nothing. Yeah.
No, I don't think it's a lot anywhere, but yeah, we were just like, I had no paychecks coming in. My wife was staying at home with Savannah, and I was like, I guess I got to go sell a house. And so my first deal was Eric Pekenbrock. Shout out to my good friend Eric, who ended up buying a house, selling that house, and then buying another house. The first deal was in Orange, city of Orange, and they bought like a 2-bedroom house. It was a super cute place for like $699,000 in 2019, and then we turned around and sold it for them in 2021, maybe, or two, for $1,040,000 or something like that.
You bought it for what?
No, they bought it for $649,000, I think, and they sold it for like $1,050,000, something like that.
Like 2 years.
In like 2 or 3 years.
Pre-pandemic, post.
They got it before, and then they sold at the height.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that they were stoked about that, and then they were able to move into a house in a better neighborhood, and
nice.
So yeah, so that was like, and then I was like, okay, and then I made whatever I made on that. Which brings up another fun topic of like like selling Sunset and all that stuff. You're like, you're gonna make like $200,000 on sell a house, and I think I made like, I know
they show the commissions on all the shows.
I think I made like $10,000 or something, $12,000. It was like
it's gonna have to last you a while because you don't get deals like a lot.
I was like, and to me that was a lot of money at once because I was used to getting like every 2 week being a paycheck, but I was like, but I don't have anything else guaranteed coming in, so I was like, I guess. We got however long we can live off of this amount, and then I just did another deal and did another deal and did another deal, and yeah, it was.
Wow, you got it really cracking there. So you were talking about how you weren't inspired by the medical sales guy.
No.
So just to kind of transition, you went into real estate. Did you have a mentor? Like I know you just talked about your first deal, but did you have a mentor to kind of help you out here, or did you just kind of wing it? Or?
So I was winging it, and
or did you aspire to be somebody? Because you didn't aspire to be those medical sales guys.
Yeah, well, so my mom's been in real estate since I was 7.
Oh, there you go.
And she's in Turlock. She's in Fresno now, and she's still in the business. And so like I grew up as like a realtor kid. Like she was like the realtor. She was like
always a realtor.
The football. Yeah. She was like at the football games, and she was like always sponsoring this and doing that, and like at the PTA meetings, and she was like the realtor mom.
That,
yeah. And so I grew up with like having client parties at our house, and like having to like wipe down all the tables so that they could like set up for the client party every year, and like. Every Christmas we would go hand out.
You got a first-hand look at
100%.
How's your mom was like a top realtor in that area?
She was like at like in 2006, right before everything hit the fan.
Yeah.
She had been in the business at the time for it was like her 7th year in the business because she got in 1999, and I mean, she was like in the county. I think she was like top 10 in the county, which like is a big county. Like
This is Fresno County.
This is the Stanislaus County. So she was uneducated, no college, barely graduated from high school. She was an immigrant from Portugal. She came over when she was 2 with her family. Like English was her, 2 years old.
Yeah, that was her first language.
It was Portuguese was her first language, but
I know what you
technically,
mean,
yeah. But still, like she, definitely like an immigrant mentality.
For sure.
And so like I grew up with just like she was a hustler, and she had a huge chip on her shoulder because she was a stay-at-home mom for. I have an older sister and a younger brother, and so she didn't get into like work until my younger brother was in like first grade. She like waited till we were all like in elementary school
before she went hard.
Before she like did anything. She didn't like just to get her license.
Right.
And then I think she was kind of like, well, if everyone's in school and I don't have anything to do from like 8 to 3 or whatever, I might as well do something.
Right.
And so she just got in and just started I mean, because the beautiful thing about her is like, people say like ignorance is bliss. Like, it truly for her was like her ignorance allowed her to just like not hear anything or see anything or like listen
She's
to
an
anyone.
immigrant, though. I believe in the immigrants, man.
Yeah,
they're different than us people who were born here. They just they got that chip on their shoulder, like you're talking
like
about.
I'm gonna prove to everyone, like I'm a stay-at-home mom, I'm gonna prove to my family, I'm gonna prove to my husband, I'm gonna prove to my friends, like I'm gonna go out there and she just killed it, and people loved her, and she was trustworthy, and I was just talking.
So were you trying to be like mom? Is that what it is?
I think I was just like always thought like I might just go into real estate. It was kind of like a backup plan that I think I subconsciously knew I had like a pretty good idea of how to do it because of growing up with her. But I don't think I ever thought I would actually do it because I was like my mom. It was like I don't want to be a realtor.
Okay.
And then I think I started started being really logical about it. I'm like I want to do sales. I don't like corporate sales. If I became a realtor, I could just like literally sell to anyone and anywhere at any time. There was no territories. There was no people I couldn't sell to or whatever.
Right.
And I'd have flexibility and I could make a lot of money at once. And I was literally, like I said earlier, I was going on like Zillow looking at like houses that cost, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000. And I was like, that's insane. Like at the time I was like, how's anyone buying these houses? Like, as I didn't understand mortgage, I didn't understand anything. I was just kind of like $800,000 for that. Like, that thing looks like a dump,
Yeah.
And so I just was like, okay, well, if I don't want to go to law school or don't want to pursue a professional degree, and I don't like corporate America, and I'm a salesman, and I have this background from growing up, I'm a very logical person. So like, I was like, okay, I'll just do real estate. Like, I mean, what else am I going to sell? I'm not going to sell. I could sell yachts or planes or it was just kind of like I had this vision of like the type of lifestyle that I wanted to have for my family and me. And I was like, I saw my mom do it and I just like, okay, well, I have a better foundation than my mom, like just by knowing how she did it. And I have a business degree and I'm like more educated and well-spoken and all these different things. I was like, I should just sell houses. Like, how hard can it be? I didn't go into it like naive, like, oh, I'm just gonna like make a ton of money really fast because I knew how hard it was. But I just was like, okay, well, I don't think there's anything that's gonna be easy, so I might as well just pick something that I'm interested in, and I was interested in it,
And the deals kept coming, huh? That's what it sounded. I mean, when you first started that story, it sounded like you got the deal. I think his name was Eric in Orange.
Yeah.
In 2019.
Yeah.
And how did the deals keep coming from there?
Well, so you said you did some digging on me? Did you go? How far back on my Instagram did you go?
No, I didn't go that far back, man. No, I was actually looking at your bio on your LinkedIn and stuff like that. I was looking more of your your bio, not your,
this is
your
a good
deals and stuff.
This is a good story about because I think looking back, it's easy to be like, yeah, the deals just came in and here I am.
Yeah,
but
there was
a lot of times, but there was one time where like we had just moved into our new a new rental in Eastside Costa Mesa that we were like over the moon about, like phenomenal location, and we were stoked. And it was a 2-bedroom. We were in a 1-bedroom, so we were just like stoked. And it was like more rent, and anyway, so things started to dry up, and I had this deal. I had a couple deals kind of like in limbo, and I was looking at the calendar, and I was going like, okay, if this doesn't close, I was like doing like calendar Tetris about like my rent and bills,
when am I gonna get
and
paid?
when I'm going to get paid, how much I have left,
yeah.
and I was like, and I was like, this is going to get real interesting, like real quick. And so I was just kind of like, okay, I'm going to try to just like be cool. Well, this one deal that was supposed to close like a week or two before that, I was like, okay, that'll be fine. Well, their loan just like blew up. And I wasn't doing loans at the time. I'm not doing loans really anymore. I was doing it for a short period of time, but it was at the mercy of their lender, and I didn't really know or understand lending that well at the time. And I had my partner, Cedric, at the time, who, he was helping me with everything. I would literally go over, like, for Eric's offer, like for Eric's purchase, my first deal. I didn't know how to write an offer. I didn't know how to write an RPA.
Nobody taught you how to, like...
No, I mean, I was that new. Like, I literally got my license in January, and I got let go in April. And so I was unemployed 4 months into having my license. So like I didn't go to like a bunch of like RPA classes, and to be honest, I was kind of like I'm not going to sit there and this is dumb. Like, I just kind of like, I would go in the room and see the people and be like,
well, now it's not that hard, but yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like I could probably maybe not need to be here for this. But so I would literally go over to my partner's house, and he would, and at the time he wasn't like it was not a 50-50 partnership. It grew into that. But at the time I would literally go over to his house, and his wife was probably so annoyed. She's a saint, and we would write the RPA together, and like he would like show me how to DocuSign and like and everything, and that's how like
you're that naive.
Oh, I did nothing.
Right,
but
right.
and this is and the reason I like kind of bring that up, and I like to bring that up, is because I think a lot of people, real estate, whatever job you do, a lot of people want to prepare. They want to be so prepared, like they want to like make sure that there's no way anything could go wrong, and I'm like, and that's just not.
Just
real.
throw yourself in the. I got thrown in the fire.
Yeah, it's not real. It's not real. You're never going to be able to account for like every possible thing that can go wrong. So you might as well. And I tell agents that ask me to sell, I'm like, just go find people that need to buy and sell a house, and then figure it out. And maybe not everyone's as good at like kind of faking it till you make it, but like that really is an art. Like you can't just. No one's going to trust you to buy a, $500,000 up to however many millions of dollars a home if they think you've never done it. Right. So you kind of, in the beginning, for the first few, you really have to like either just be an assistant and just be happy like being a part of a deal and shadowing a deal and taking a small cut or whatever. But if you want to like do your own deal and you don't have a lot of experience, like it's probably not helpful to be like, hi, I'm Blake. I've never sold a house, but I would like to sell yours. It's like, they're going to be like, hey buddy, like, yeah, next. And so I kind of like, and my former partner was really helpful about that. He would just be like, dude, no one wants to know how long you've been in. No, none of these things are good to talk about. None of these things are helpful. Now,
on a listing, they do the research a lot of times, especially on the big time listing.
Dude, I had to just like,
they know who you are before they've even called you.
I have so many good stories. Like there's okay, but I was getting to another story. So
you're good, yeah.
Funds were getting tight. This loan blew up. We had to switch lenders because the buyer like kind of lied about everything, and it was like funds were coming overseas, and it was like a whole thing. And so I was like, oh, I'm gonna literally not gonna pay my rent.
We're gonna figure it out.
And we had just moved in, like it was like our third or fourth month, and so our landlord lived right across from us, and they had told me in our interview, like when we interviewed for the lease, they were like, hey, we have a lot of like real estate people in our family, and like they're always asking for money, and like they're not very successful.
No.
And they're like, that's not going to be an issue, right? And I was like, oh no, absolutely not.
Killing it,
I was
man.
like, no, I make like six figures, like whatever, no big deal. And they're like, okay. But again, like I wouldn't have got that. Like you really got to improvise. You got to, you really do. And some people,
no, sir, I don't have any deals right now. I probably won't be able to make rent.
I won't be able to make rent, exactly.
Yeah.
And so
you got to fake it. Yeah.
So I literally,
they didn't check anything right away.
Nothing. So that was like, I mean, I could just go on about like how many like, that
this
was
is
like,
that
that
for
was
those
a God
people
thing.
listening. That's a very nice part of town. This isn't your like.
No, this was like
This is one of the upper end parts of.
And it was one of my
clients.
It was one of my clients who bought a place that were renting it, and so we had an inn, and so I was like, Andrew, like I really would like to take your place. Like, can you please like tell your landlord before they like put it on Zillow or whatever?
Yeah.
Because places like that, they would have gotten 50 applications, and we would have never even got looked at, and they didn't run our credit, they didn't do anything, and I was just like,
you're hooked up.
I was like sitting there, and Savannah, we moved in October, so she was like 4 months, no, she was like 6 months old, and we were literally like holding her and just being like, oh yeah, no, great. And they were like, we just kind of go by like month to month, and we just take people's word. And I was like, okay, great. Because I was
Are
like,
these older folks?
Yeah, like they were. I mean, they're kooks, but they were great, and they didn't give us our security deposit back when we moved out back in October, which is I'm pissed about, but that's another story. But yeah, so again, it's like there's been so many. That was a God thing, like 100,000%. That was like, it was just, he was like, I got you, don't worry. Like I know you don't know how this is gonna work, but it's gonna work somehow. And I just was kind of like, okay. But so we were about 3 or 4 months into our lease, and this deal was gonna not go through, and I was like, I'm not gonna be able to pay my rent. And I had my wife had a old like Toyota Corolla that was like passed down from her sister. Like it was like a 2004 or something. And then I had like a Chevy Cruze, like a 2012 Chevy Cruze, and it had like dents, and it was so bad. I used to like drive it. I would park around the corner and
Things
walk.
have changed, Blaine.
I would walk to the listing of like wherever I was showing.
2000. What year was this? 2012.
2009.
No. What year was your car?
My car was like a 2012.
Dang. Okay.
It was a hoop.
This is like a $5,000 car.
It was bad. And so, which is funny you bring that up. So our rent was like $2,400.
Oh, pretty good.
And I was like, I can't go tell my landlord that I can't pay rent because they're gonna be like, of course.
This is after the deal, or the deal's blowing up at the time. The deal
was officially not going to close on time.
That's okay.
Like for me to be able to pay rent.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I can't go over there and tell him because they're gonna know. Like the gig's up. Like this guy's he's a liar.
You're one of his family members.
You're just another loser realtor who doesn't have enough money to pay rent. And I was like, if I do this, like all credibility with them is gonna go out the window. And at any point they could just like pull the plug because we're month to month. You know, they could just be like, you know what? No, you're out. And
you never signed a lease, huh?
We did. We had it was like a single page. Like it was not.
No. Talk about you said you're month to month. I thought you didn't sign long term. That's what I mean.
Right. It wasn't long term.
Which
for me, I was like fine with. I was
okay.
I don't really. I was like, I was just kind of like I just was.
You just wanted to get in.
I just wanted to get in, and so I had to sell my car. So I sold. So we had two cars. They both sucked, and I didn't want them. And I knew it wasn't too far. I was like. It doesn't really Julie we had a 6-month-old. Julie wasn't working, so I was like, we don't really need 2 cars, you know, like really. We live so close to everything. We could walk to Sprouts. You could walk to the beach. You could walk. It was like we didn't.
You're kind of working from home.
Yeah, we didn't need 2 cars, and so I just sold my car and I put it up on like Craigslist, and I made a post on Instagram at the time, and I was like. I had just sold my car. Like the guy had come and gave me cash. It was like. Literally, like, I think I sold it for like $3,000 or something. It was that shitty of a car.
Yeah, it must have been, man. 3 G's for a car.
And I was like, well, that's all I needed. Like, mission accomplished. I just needed to pay my rent.
Uh-huh.
And so then that deal closed, and
so you got your rent paid with
got my
the
rent
Chevy.
paid with the Chevy Cruze, and I made a post on Instagram that like
That's
people
a good story,
like responded
though.
Like everyone was like, oh my, like, and it was a little bit early as far as like people doing that. Like,
that's good. I like that story really quick just because real estate is so tough.
Yeah.
And people think that money is so easy. You literally had to sell a car because you couldn't pay rent.
Yeah.
And you're a beginning realtor, even though you came from a realtor family.
Right. I didn't have any help because my mom, it wasn't like I couldn't get any like deals from her because she was 5 hours north.
Yeah, we were talking about mentor. So did you have him? Was anybody helping you out?
Yeah, so Cedric.
Oh, Cedric.
Cedric was my, like, he did, I mean.
Oh, this is the guy that was helping you, the DocuSign.
He taught me, he taught me a lot.
Because you didn't want to sit in the meetings.
Yeah, he was just like, well, he even said, he was like, you don't go, he's like, and he was kind of the one that said, like, why do you need to go sit in a meet? Go outside and go find someone to buy a house. Like, and he was very.
So what are you
practical.
doing? You're going outside, yeah. So
bro, I was talking to people at coffee shops. I was giving my card out everywhere. I would talk to our waiters at dinner. My wife hated it. She was like, "Can you just like chill?"
It takes a certain personality to do that, though. I'll tell you that right now. So people think again, real estate's easy. No, it takes a certain personality to talk to strangers. I'm not gonna lie, it's not me. I mean, I'm getting better at it, but I'm not like a "Hey bud, how's your coffee doing?" kind of guy or whatever. So I really don't care. I just want to be left alone and like, I just want to enjoy if I'm out like at a public place, I don't want strangers talk. I don't know you, bro.
Right.
Don't talk to me.
Right. And that's kind of how my wife is.
Yeah.
So that was like a very and when we got married, she thought she was marrying this guy who had a medical device, worked for Johnson & Johnson and had a salary and benefits.
Oh, okay.
And and then when all of this came to, she was like, wait,
what's going on here? Wait,
how do we make money? And I was like, well, I have to sell a house. And she's like, do you have anyone to sell the house to? I'm like, no. And she's like, so like, where's money coming in? I'm like, it's not. Like, it's commission based. There's no salary, there's no hourly, there's nothing coming in. And she was like, I mean,
It's like, what does that really mean?
she's a ride or die. Like, I can't even, like, I mean,
Shout out wife.
Oh my gosh. Like, I can't even, yeah, if I were her, I'd be like, what? Like, go get a job. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah,
you know, but
yeah.
she just trusted me. I mean, I hope she trusted me. I think she was probably a little hesitant, but I think for the most part, she
You
was
won
like,
her over?
as long as you can pay our rent and like put food on the table, then I guess that's fine. But yeah, it's a brutal business, man.
Yeah,
it's
is a brutal business. I'm in a brutal business too.
Yeah.
I'm in the mortgage business, and I know you talked about how you're. I want to go back to the mortgage business a little bit. You were in the mortgage business for a little bit. I kind of want to hear the story. You were in lending. I've been in it now for a very long time.
Yeah.
I've been in it, since I graduated college a long, long time ago, basically. Tell us a story. What's your experience in the mortgage business?
It was great. I mean, like, I learned so much.
Were you a loan officer? Did you
Yeah,
start
I was
a
just so
company?
basically my partner Cedric was like, we were giving business to a certain lender at the time, and it started around the refi boom. They were so inundated with refis that they like weren't really providing very good service for our buyers and for purchase loans. Which, looking back, I don't blame them. I mean, they were like just crushing. And we're like, yeah, but we have these clients that want to buy a house. Like, and they would just like, they didn't even have it. I don't even think they had enough LOs to even like process how many refis they were doing. And so my partner was like, why don't we just do loans? Like, it's not that hard to get our license. And like, he knew a guy who owned a branch, He like went to Florida and basically told him like, he basically did exactly what I did. And he kind of taught me, the whole like, kind of fake it till you make it thing. Basically convinced the owner of Preferred Rate, which was a subsidiary of American Pacific Mortgage in Florida.
Okay.
Convinced the owner to give us a branch in Newport Beach. We had never done a loan. We weren't even licensed. And so he came back from this trip from Florida and he's like, hey, we own a branch. And I was like,
what does that even mean?
And so we had to get our license. We had to like hire a lady to come in and help us like pass the test. And that test was so hard. Like, that test was so much harder than the real estate test. And I passed by like 1 point.
You got to actually study for it.
Oh my gosh. And so we did that. And then our whole idea was, and his idea, he was like, dude, we have all these buyers that we're doing deals for, sellers that are going to refi. He's like, why don't we just do both? And at the time, I didn't know enough. I was ignorant to understand what that really looked like. And I was like, yeah, sure. Okay, that makes sense. Make more money. Great.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to hear this because a lot of realtors
do that.
A lot of realtors want to make an extra dollar and do a loan. Yeah.
And the one big takeaway, two big takeaways, is that one, I learned a ton, and it was super valuable because I understood how to do my own. Like, I understood how to go to dinner with someone who said they want to buy a house or something, or say that they owned a house and they wanted to buy a house. And I was able to ask the right questions without coming off like I was taking a what's the 1080? Is that the
1003?
1003, whatever. So yeah, exactly. People listening that have done their loan for them are probably like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But I was able to really ask from a real estate standpoint, like from a realtor standpoint, I was able to ask financing questions that really helped me cut to the chase with a lot of people.
It takes time.
I didn't have to waste a lot of time with people because I would be like, if they said they were self-employed or they said
it's a skill,
I'd be like, okay, they're not buying a house for a long time, we want to do this, but we have this, and so that was super helpful. And then even for my own purchases, it helped me understand like how to structure my car payment, how to not don't have a lease because you literally can't get out of that. Like, I had to, on my first flip deal, I couldn't buy it. I was buying it with a conventional loan, like 5 or 10% down or something like that. And I was almost didn't get the deal because of my car lease. And so I had to do a buyout, and then I had to put the car in my wife's name because she wasn't on time. Like, so all this type of stuff,
yep.
I learned all that just like with all understanding the guidelines.
I think we talked about this a little bit at the open house, but dude, your loan officer should have caught that. You should have not, or you the loan officer?
No, yeah. Well, we knew, we kind of knew it was going to be a problem, but we weren't sure how close the DTI was going to be based on my tax return, and like we were doing like the Tetris, we were doing like the DTI Tetris, trying to back in. And I was trying to like file like right before I actually did the loan so I could figure out how much I could the whole thing. It was like the whole thing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But so now when I have self-employed clients who I'll refer them to someone like yourself. Like at least I mean, but at least I know, like,
No, for sure.
I know if they even have a chance, because if they tell me, like, I had a client who was at a big W-2 lawyer, and then he left his W-2 to become a partner. Well, the bank, he's a to a realtor that was uneducated about lending guidelines, they'd be like, oh, this guy's got a ton of money, he's gonna buy a big old house.
Yeah.
But as for a borrower who left the W-2, which the bank now doesn't exist, so no income he's made the last couple of years, they don't care. They're like, he's not employed anymore. So great that he made $400,000 or $500,000, whatever. That's gone, and now he's a partner, and he's taking equity and stock, all these different things.
Yeah.
But he has no income. He's a K-1, and he doesn't even have a tax return. So there were situations like that where we had to just like we had to go to the crazy like non-QM this and that.
I know
whatever.
we have those.
So
I know.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just.
But how did you get from the mortgage? Did the mortgage branch end up opening basically?
We did it for like 3 years, 2-3 years, and like we had insurance.
So you
through
just
it.
closed it? Or you just? What's going on with
just
the lending
closed
branch now?
it. We just closed it in like basically
2023.
Yeah, like maybe in August or so, because I had left my partner. We kind of went our separate ways, and I was still employed by the bank because I had my health insurance, and he was like, dude, just who cares, just stay on, like. You might as well, like.
Well, that's pay your salary too, right? Like minimum wage.
No, it was all. I was just an LO or something. I don't even know. I just got checks when I closed deal, and so then like a couple months after that, he basically was like, yeah, we lost the branch, which was kind of writing on the wall because we weren't doing any deals, and it was during that kind of no man's land of like just.
A lot of people lost their.
We weren't doing real estate deals,
we're
let alone loan deal. Like it was just like so we lost the branch, but the other thing I was going to say, and I was thinking about this on the way here. It's like when you're a realtor who also wants to do loans, you don't have you're not networking with lenders, and there are so many deals to be done networking with lenders. Whether it's golfing or podcast or lunch or coffee or just in general, where you can send me buyers and I can send you borrowers, and it's a way better situation, to be honest. And I think because I was younger and just a little bit short-sighted, I was like, sure, like if you make an extra $10,000 here, an extra this and that.
I believe the same thing.
But dude, it was just a nightmare, and I legitimately lost. There's one client I know that like will probably never work with me again because of.
You tried to do the loan?
No, like we did their loan, and
okay.
and in all honesty, no one could have. Even though we didn't really know what we were doing, we very quickly got really good. Like we just like because we knew the type of people to call. We had tons of resources, and we worked with really good processors and really good underwriters, and we just went at it like just full force. And so we basically would exhaust all options, and we would know like this guy either is going to get a loan through us or he's not getting a loan. And we knew because they were going to other people before us, and they were like, we can't get a loan. And so this one guy, they bought a place, and we did both, and it was such a bad ending, and it was just like they wanted a portion of the commission because we were doing both, and then they like we're gonna back out and go to a different lender, and it was just such a nightmare because when you're doing both sides, you're like, if they're like, hey, we're gonna do it, you're like.
You're also squeezing every dollar out of that transaction, but it's hard to do everything because I always tell the guys that do that kind of stuff, I was like, you just missed a call from a $2 million listing because you're sitting here trying to process a loan or do DTI or
right. Now, in our defense,
whatever.
I wasn't doing any of that. I was just I was a figurehead, and Cedric was really kind of heading up all that.
But is he a realtor too?
He's a realtor too, and then we had a couple guys working with us because we were like, well, we should just like, basically the idea was if we're 50-50 partners, and one of us running the real estate side and one of us is running the lending side.
That would have been better. Yeah.
Then hopefully they'll grow together, and then like I can have guys under me and girls under me, and he can run the lending, and we'll kind of become two separate things that one
that
really.
feed each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which people do. It's like that's not uncommon. We just couldn't build it, and but yeah. So there's a client that like it was just a really ugly ending, and I was just like, this isn't worth it. Like and then there was like they would refi before the vesting period, and then we would
6
get
months, yeah.
our commission clawed back, and it was bad. It was
Yeah,
bad.
I'll talk to you a little bit about that after we get off. But yeah, that sounds. I mean, that ending part sounds terrible. But yeah, I'm not really a big fan of the guys who do both. You can't be good at everything.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to stay in my lane. I could do real estate too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I get it. I just don't want to. I've kind of like niched out. Like they always say, the wealth is in the niches.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll stick to what I stick to, and
Right.
And another thing, just to kind of piggyback off of that, I was talking to somebody else, and I was like, I've never seen a top real estate agent do mortgage.
No.
Like top
No.
producers don't do.
No, they work with a really good lender. That lender pays
Right.
for their marketing, and everyone's stoked.
Or whatever they pay, whatever
Yeah.
they give them in return, or
Right.
obviously
Or just
value,
deals.
service.
Yeah.
And I also anyway again, I don't want to talk about like
No.
this isn't like a pitch, so I don't
No,
want
no,
to
no.
I don't
But-
want to talk about it on the podcast.
But this is why I started a podcast, was because
Yeah.
I was like the whole Gary Vee thing of like, rather than asking someone to go to lunch, when you ask someone to come on a
Yeah.
podcast, they're like,
kind of
that's kind of cool. Like you make them feel really special,
Right.
and you get to sit here and have a dedicated however many hours.
uninterrupted attention, all that kind
Yeah,
of stuff.
and then it's like they're like, well, I've never done a podcast, and they're associating you with the guy that they did their first podcast with, and
No,
then you get
100%.
to tag him on Instagram, and it's like, like I have. It's funny because I was going to tell you this. I have a call at 6:00 with a first time buyer.
Uh-huh.
They want to buy in like probably Costa Mesa up to like $1 million,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm giving them to you.
Oh, there you go.
Because I was like, why not? Like this is the thing that I don't
I
get to
appreciate
do.
it,
Being my own lender or trying to like
Yeah.
do all the deals. You don't get to be like, hey, cool, like do the
Yeah.
loan, and then you'll be like, hey, my buddy wants, hey, Blake will do, and I'll do the loan, and it's like, then if you mess up the loan, I can blame it on you,
Yeah.
and then they can't blame it on me.
It's 100%. yeah.
But like, yeah, it's just
But
I
there's
think
a lot
it's
of
a
stuff that
better
I could,
situation.
and also it's just like, look, I like talking to other people in the business. That's another thing where, because if you're doing both, we can't collaborate together. But another thing is, actually, sorry. Let me pivot. I know we were talking about real estate. Let me pivot to just really quickly to another subject that you are in Newport. And again, for those people who aren't in the area, Newport is a super tough real estate market for a young guy to get into. So, how are you working that Newport market? And again, for those people that don't know, it's a lot of the realtors there. They are, they've been there for a while. They're older. Let's just be real. They're
It's hard to get out of the
50s
business.
and 70s,
Yeah.
and that's the majority of the agents. I know the Altman brothers have got into there. I know, and those are the guys on TV. The Oppenheimer group.
Mm-hmm.
Again, another TV group.
Yep. There's a lot of good agents that are younger. And it's just really hard. Like it's a hard
Because the market's been trapped. But those guys already have a bunch of clout from LA that are coming down to OC and trying to literally pick up more cash, essentially.
Right. Well, I mean,
Trying to grow their footprint.
the way that I stay sane is I try not to think about like all of that, because I think it's
How
a
are you
trap.
able to compete like with these older guys?
I don't really compete. I don't even see it like that. I don't.
Okay.
I you know what I mean?
It's a good.
I don't.
yeah.
I just don't, because it's like, this is like a little bit cheesy, but like I really think competition. I think collaboration is a way more effective tool than competition. There's always competition. Like don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna go on a listing appointment. There's gonna be a bunch. You might go up against.
So
other
it's
people.
you or the guy that's been doing it that's the guy with all the magazines, the
Yeah.
guy with all the posters, all that kind of
Yeah. And I just tell him. I just be like, that's fine. If you want to go with him, that's fine. Like, the thing.
You think you'll get your time? Is that what it is? Or
Oh yeah. No. The thing is like, I'm not gonna sit here and pitch them on some silly thing that isn't gonna like. I truly believe that, like, at the end of the day, it's not rocket science. If you have a beautiful home in Newport Beach, it's unless you just grossly overprice it, or you have really terrible photos. Like, how easy is it to have the funny thing is I say this, and maybe some people are listening, or people that are realtors that don't have this. I have a lot of connections. I'm a connector. Like, I'm a collab. I like to talk to. I like to say, hey, how's the coffee? Like, that's just my nature. Like, we're opposite. Like, I think it's fun because, especially in an area like Orange County, and specifically like coastal Orange County and Newport, Costa Mesa, like, you never know who you're next to. You know, like, and we go to, we try to really go to, like, I love going to dinner. Like, our calendar is just like, just dinner. And it's a little bit of business, but like, ultimately, I really think that I'm just building relationships locally. And I think people should work with people they like. And my whole goal is for, like, to meet people and then them like me. And sometimes I don't like them, and then it just kind of fizzles out. Or sometimes I just, you know, I if there's an opportunity, regardless of whether I like them or not, I'm just going to keep going down this road because it might turn into business. And I just try to connect. I try to know the area. And my former partner, Cedric, like, he taught me so much about Newport. He was a member of the yacht club. His wife's family is an old Newport family, and so he taught me a lot. He helped me understand the ins and outs. He helped me understand the culture. He helped me understand the politics, the different neighborhoods and the different, like, everything, like, and it helped me so much. I mean, the shoes I'm wearing, the clothes I'm wearing, it was, if you met him today, you'd be like, oh, like, he was my mentor in a lot of ways, and he helped me a ton. I mean, he was the head of suit sales at David August, which is, if you don't know David August, they're a local Newport suiting company that used to dress Kobe. They dress Tiger Woods, Conor McGregor, like anyone that's everyone. David, it's called DA, like David August, and that was his background. So he helped me a lot. And then I just took what I knew and I just tried to do what I could with it. And I try not to, like, think about, because I could have so much anxiety if I sat here and be like, how am I gonna compete with Sean Stanfield or Kevin Sturdivant or John Kane or any of these people? I just focus on me. Like, I just focus on meeting people, because I think it's true, and a lot of people have said this, there are an unlimited amount of deals. I know that sounds ridiculous, but there just are.
No, you're right. I tell people that too. Yeah,
because if you're constantly looking over your shoulder and thinking like, no one's going to use me because they're going to know. And I still do this to this day. I have to remind myself to not be, like, pessimistic and be like, I'm not going to say anything. They know, like, 10 realtors, because you never know.
Everybody knows a realtor.
Everyone knows a realtor, but the thing is like, that doesn't mean that they like or want to do business with those people that they know. Sometimes they don't like them, or sometimes they know a friend who used them that didn't have a good experience, and they're looking for someone. I literally got a text today, which is the people I'm going to refer to you, that I have a call with, from a good friend that, like, I didn't even see it coming. They were like, hey, we just got referred to you by our good friend, and we'd love to work with you. And I'm like, and we didn't even ever, like, really spend a lot of time with them, but they were our neighbors. We'd see each other at the park, and it was like, that's awesome, you know.
That's
and
great.
He didn't refer him he referred him to me. And I think over time, this is my 5th year now in the business. Like, I think about my 10th year and my 15th year, my 20th year. I just think if you just if you're over analyzing and trying to, like, understand who your competition, it's good to know who your competition is. Don't get me wrong, but to focus too much on that, I just think you're going to be in your head, and then it's going to limit your ability to connect with people, and connecting with people is the whole business.
No, you're absolutely right. I like that answer, man. Yeah, because I always tell people, like I was telling you earlier, there's an unlimited amount of deals. I would say the only limiting thing is the mega properties. There's a limited amount of the mega properties.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's your goal.
But again, it's the people, right? Like, if I help so-and-so, and then you never know who people know, especially in my area. My clients that are my age, their parents are wealthy, most of them.
Right.
And if they're local people, most of their parents are the ones that own those properties, or they work with people that own those properties, or they're in their firm, or they're at their practice, or whatever. It's like, so if I have a good reputation and someone trusted me to buy their first home for $950,000, well, I'm probably not, at my 5th year in the business, I'm probably not going to get a $10 million listing, and that's okay. But if I do it if I do it long enough and enough people trust me and enough people refer me to people that they trust, that I'm going to get that. It's probably just a matter of time. And I really think that some people don't want to believe that that's like I think some people will be like, oh, that's a self-limiting belief. Why couldn't you get a Tim? There's other people at your age that did.
You
I'm not saying that.
I believe,
I'm just not in I'm not in a rush because I actually do a job that I enjoy. And so I don't feel, I mean, I do feel pressure all the time, but I try not to I'm going to play the long game. Like I'm 31. When I'm 41, I've been in this business for 16 years. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I'm hoping people will be like, oh, like they know Blake, like I'm not gonna get that deal. They know Blake. Oh, he did and it's like the guys that I say that about now. It's not because for any other reason than what I'm saying. They've been in the business for a long time. They've earned their stripes, and they have a good reputation. That's not something you can really accelerate. It just is what it is. Time takes time.
Time takes time.
It just does.
I feel you, man.
You can't I can't really manufacture 20 years of experience as a person that's been in the business for 5 years. I just can't do it.
No, you're 100%
So I work with
right.
who I work with, and I'm grateful for who wants to work with me. And
no shortcuts in this business, man.
No, there's no shortcuts.
You got to take it one step at a time and work your way to the top to that 10, 20, $30 million listing. Obviously, there is limited amounts of $30 million listings out there. But again, maybe, hopefully you can get there one day. We talked a little bit earlier about flipping. Was that Lakewood property flipped? Was that a flip?
Yeah, it was great.
That was your flip?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that the Lakewood house.
Yeah, so I bought that for $650, sold it for $9. And
it's already done, huh?
Yeah, we're about $100,000 into it.
It's sold already?
Yeah, it's sold on January 2nd.
So only needed 100. So that's another thing. I talked to a lot of people about flipping, and so the problem right now that I'm seeing, because a lot of people throw me properties. I work with a lot of people that want to flip and all that. You need a big margin, and this is pretty decent. I mean, this is
you have to find your own property.
Yeah, that's the thing.
How
am I going to get a property?
All the money is lost.
900 is probably
someone else.
Yeah, well, 900 is probably your.
My partner
at this point,
and
it's
I
your basic
split
nice
100.
starter form.
My partner and I split $100,000.
So $50,000 each on the repairs. 50.
No. Like that's what we walked with. All said and done, commissions, closing costs, everything. We split.
Carrying? Did you guys carry too?
Yeah, that was everything.
Yeah.
So we made $50,000 each, and we did 10% down. So like it was a pretty good deal. Like it was because you can't really expect to make when you're talking about less than $1 million, like to make $100,000, that's a really good percentage. When you're talking about I bought for 1.5 and I sold, like, okay, well that's different.
It's a different ballgame.
You have to make, you got to make like $300,000.
A lot more risk too.
Right, exactly, and that's why I love.
Sit on the market.
I've been thinking about just trying to just prospect Lakewood just for flips and just mailings and.
I would stick to these. I wouldn't even get into.
100%.
I wouldn't get into the luxury market on flips. It's a much different ballgame.
That's a different. Yeah, it's more development. And it takes longer, and there's more. That's why, just like the $30 million listing.
Yeah,
it just takes time.
And I would like to get all the stuff into the house. You're importing marble from Italy to these $2.5 million, because they want the nicer stuff in the nicer homes, and it just takes forever. Because we're having an issue with shipping right now, parts and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, but that's pretty good though. Yeah. That's pretty good. How'd you get this house?
So another flip that I got in Costa Mesa, the sellers of the home that were selling their home to me in Costa Mesa, they needed to buy something. So I told them as a part of the deal, because I got a really good deal on their house, I told them I'll help you with everything and I'll represent you on your purchase and I'll give you all the commission. So they were able to, because
you're giving them the commission from when they buy a house?
Right. So like it was they bought a house for $1 million.
So what did you get out of that?
So I was buying so I'm buying your home at a good deal. And in order to make the numbers a little bit more attractive for you, because you're going to
give them a commission credit.
I'm giving them, in addition to the purchase price of their home, I'm also giving them an extra 2.5% on their purchase.
And they were just a home seller that reached out to you, basically?
No. So I met them at a friend's, my babysitter's graduation party. They were the next door neighbor. They were at the party. there was a pod moving thing in the driveway. So I asked one of our friends that live on the other side of them. I was like, "Hey, what's the deal with your neighbor?" They're like, "Oh, they're moving. They haven't told anyone." And I was like,
Except
"Oh."
they have the pod.
And I was like, yeah.
Except they have the moving truck
big
here.
giveaway, yeah. They're storing stuff for no reason. And so they're like, "Oh, they're right here. I'll introduce you." And so I was, again, you have to really know what you're looking for to be able to find these deals. Like I knew the neighborhood. I saw the condition. I was like, and it was funny because when I first started talking to them, I was trying to buy it for us, like personally for our own family,
Right.
not as a flip. And so I was like, "Oh, I'm Blake." And they're like, "Oh, nice to meet you." I'm like, "Can I buy your home?" And they're like,
You went straight into it. You didn't.
They're like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, and I was like, "Yeah, I heard you guys might be making a move." And they're like, "Yeah, yeah." And they're like, "You want to see it?" And I'm like, "Sure." So like, literally left the graduation party, went next door.
That's a deal.
They walked me through, and I offered them a ridiculously low price that, honestly, in hindsight,
You just offered them just after
I offered
the
them what I could
walkthrough?
afford. So like, I was trying to buy it for myself, and I just was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take a shot. Maybe they'll say yes, And so I offered them way less than it was worth, and they were probably gonna take it until another agent randomly like sent them a solicitation letter like, "We have buyers," and they didn't. They're older. They didn't like know that it was just like a mass mailer, and so they called the flyer like while we were negotiating. Like I had written the offer. They were like, they were close. They were like, "We just need to find where we're gonna go before we kind of like move forward." And I was helping them. I was like, "Okay, cool. I'll help you." They ended up buying a place in Long Beach, and so they called me and they're like, "Blake, like we feel so bad," because at the time they were thinking I was gonna live there, which that was my intention because I was like, it was a phenomenal location, but I couldn't afford what it was actually worth. And so,
even in its current condition, you couldn't afford it.
No,
It
was so we bought it for 1.5.
Oh, it's a big house.
We bought it for 1.5. It's a small house. It's one block from Newport, so it was a 1,600 square foot house,
But needed
and it was
a lot of work.
Totally
It's always gonna be worth like early twos when it's done.
So we ended up selling it off market. We didn't even do anything. We just wholesaled it basically because the permits were taking so long with the city. Some guy came along with an agent that I knew that I had shared it with, and they wanted to buy it as is, and they wanted to just live there. And they had like a construction background.
Well, so you did get it under contract.
So we ended up.
Yeah, what happened
so
with
we
that guy,
ended up,
the advertisement or whatever?
Yeah, so they called me and they're like, "We're so sorry, but like we called this, we got a letter and we called it, and the agent actually wants to purchase it themselves." And I'm thinking, of course they do. Like it's a fucking phenomenal deal. Of course they want to do that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, "Oh wow, like okay." And they're like, "Yeah, they're offering us quite a bit more than you." And I'm thinking to myself, of course they are.
Yeah.
And so I said, "Okay, well, what are they offering?" And they're offering 1.575, and they said they could go up from there. I'm like, "Oh my."
If they can go up, go up. Why are you?
And I said, so I basically just said, and I had a relationship at that point, and I was gonna help them with their whole transition, and I just said, I was like, "Well, you guys got to do what you got to do." I said, "I can't afford that to buy it for myself personally, but I can tell you I know who that agent is, and I know that they actually do the same thing I do, which is development. And they're going to buy that regardless of what they're telling you. They're going to buy that, and they're going to fix it up, and they're going to sell it for a profit." And I said, "Are you okay with that?" And they're like, "Yeah, we don't care. We can do whatever you want." I said, "Okay. Well, if that's the case," I said, "then I can offer you more than what I offered you if I'm doing it that way, because I'm going to bring in a partner. I can't offer that to you for me to live there. So as long as you're okay knowing that I'm going to bring in a partner and that we're going to fix it up and sell it for a profit, I just want you to know that's what I'm going to do." They're like, "Oh, we don't care. Totally fine." Okay, great. So I brought in a partner and we split the down, and I helped them find a place. We closed concurrently so that they could buy their place cash with the funds from their sale. They were stoked, and they moved into a really nice neighborhood in Long Beach. And that agent, so this is why I'm getting to the Carfax, to Lakewood.
Yeah.
The listing agent on the deal that I helped them buy in Long Beach, that I credited all my commission to them to kind of sweeten because I basically said, "Okay, I'm offering you 1.5, but I'm also going to do this." So it's really like, and so they were like, "Okay, cool." And so that agent, again, going back to just like connecting and talking and asking, she was kind of a chatty Cathy, super sweet lady, older agent. And I said, Carol, like, you know, on one day I had her on the phone. I'm like, I go, where do you work? Like, where's your, like, you know, your farm or whatever? And she's like, this like Long Beach, Lakewood, you know, down, da, da, da. And I was like, and my wife's my wife's parents have lived in Bellflower her whole life. So I know Lakewood, I know those areas just from being married to her. Mm-hmm. And I go, oh, you wouldn't happen to have anything coming up, would you? And she's like, yeah, well, I have this little fixer-upper in Lakewood. And I go, oh, she's like, yeah, it's a friend from church, da, 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 da. And I was like, oh, well, tell me about it, you know? And she's telling me about it, and she's like, it's pretty much original. It's only like this square feet, but it's a really nice neighborhood, da, 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 da. And I go, what do you think it's worth? She's like, oh, I think probably like 700. And I go, okay. I said, well, I'll buy it. And I said, can I see it? She's like, yeah, see it anytime. They're moving to wherever they're moving, New Mexico.
This is before it was listed. Or before?
Oh, yeah, it was off market.
Yeah,
That's why I was just asking, do you have anything coming up?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, I'm going to list this one in Lakewood. I'm like, oh, well, you know. And so my ears are just like, I'm like, all the red lights.
Oh my God,
my
God.
I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
And so I go over there like the next day. I see it. I meet the owner. He's nice, whatever. And I said, hey, you know, I think I could probably offer 600. And she's like, oh, they won't take it for 600, da, 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 da. And she's like, what about 650? I go, yeah, I can do 650. So we bought it for 650 off market. She got paid.
No,
she got double-ended.
Yeah.
She double-ended, so she was stoked. But but that didn't cost me anything. That was just the seller. So yeah, we got it off market for probably about $80,000 under what it was probably worth. But they wanted the convenience, they wanted the flexibility, they wanted
great.
The cash.
Hell yeah.
And then so that's how we got that one.
Nice. Well, I know that.
What's it been? 4 hours, Sergio? Where are we at?
We're at 76 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad. I thought we were like
no,
way over. I'm like,
we're still going, man. So we're talking about.
No, we can go as long as you want.
Yeah. So, what are we talking? We're talking about you flipping the Long Beach house.
One thing turned to another. Yeah.
One thing turned to another. But now that's kind of what you want to do. You want to do that. You want to do development. That's kind of. But you're just talking to me about these clients that you potentially want to refer to me.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a traditional transaction.
Right. So I'd like to see like half of my bit. Like this year, my goal is to do 4 flips. So if anyone's listening,
that's quite a bit.
And one of their grandparents died recently. Yeah, I'm kidding. I'm sorry. But seriously though, if you know, that's what I want to do. I want to do 4 flips this year.
That's a lot, by the way, because you're gonna have probably 2 at one time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, because inevitably, like you're not gonna we're already in almost February, and so if I want to do 1 a quarter, I'm already pretty much
1 a quarter
down.
Quick.
I'm down a quarter right now.
This took how long? More than a quarter. With buy, sale, renovate, you know, all that.
It was about a quarter probably.
That's really fast.
It was really fast. That was.
How'd you get the construction done?
I had a guy that just like.
Everybody has a guy. You have a guy.
But that's the thing.
This guy that just came from God to fix this house.
Everyone wants to
2
flip.
weeks.
Everyone wants to flip, and they're buying homes from wholesalers, getting bad deals. They're losing all their money in the wholesale.
I know. I'm looking at wholesalers right now too. I'm getting all these emails and everything that they send me. And actually, I have one of my good agents. She's coming here later today. She has a deal in Anaheim right now. That thing is going so high. There's zero. Okay, it's gonna go for 800 cash, fixed up, super nice. It'll probably be 930. I'm not giving you 800.
That's
I need.
tight. What are you gonna make? 20 grand?
I need 120. It's. I'm talking about a roof, HVAC, floors, walls.
You got to get that for like 600.
I told her got it for 800. I was like, I'll give you 650.
Right.
And literally, actually, that's the spread. Your spread. And I was gonna sell it for 930. 930 is where the neighborhood's going.
Yeah, we thought
this is right by Disneyland, so that's the spread. And I don't know. This guy supposedly, actually, I think he's from Huntington or Newport, and he has the cash.
Yeah.
And he's gonna just live there for he said he's gonna live there for a year, fix it up, live there. I was like, if you're gonna live there for a long period of time, and then he's gonna fix it up, make an ADU, and
you can pay more.
You can pay a little more.
But that's the rub with flipping is like you're competing against people that are willing to pay more based on how they're planning to live in the property or not live in it or whatever.
Yeah, no, totally. And the reason I will go back to that flipping question is because I'm running into a lot of issues, and I'm sure people listening are running into a lot of issues. It's getting the deal at the right price, and people are paying too much, and these prices are getting bid up.
Well, that's why
And,
you just like
you
almost
need a connection. You need
well, you
like,
almost have to get them off market. You know, like I really truly like if you for me, I can make a like so like even like think about the Lakewood deal. Like, okay, I made 50 grand. It's fine.
but you made I would just say it's 100.
Made 100 grand.
Yeah.
I split it with my partner, but I have a listing coming up.
And you have taxes, guys. By the way.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's yeah.
So
that's
he's
a
down. He's actually down to nothing.
That's a
so-
whole nother. That's a whole nother thing.
He's
But,
actually
like,
negative.
Yeah, but like I have a listing coming up where I'm gonna make more than that, and like I'll probably list it like second
Big time
week of
listing.
like
Congrats, man.
thank you. I'm gonna have like I'll have that listed probably right around March 1st, and it'll probably close. Like it'll probably be in escrow in 10 days or less. I might even sell it off market to another client like right now. So like I have to really think about these things and be like, okay, if you're a flipper and all you do is flip and you're not even licensed, then making 30 to 50 grand that's great. You could do that maybe 4 or 5 times a year and have a decent income. And maybe you have a different job and you do that on the side or whatever. But like if you have a career like mine in real estate in the area I'm in, and you can make, like $500,000 without, in 15 transactions or whatever, then doing a flip for less than like 100K or like less, it's like, you gotta be like, okay, what are you doing? Like you're gonna put all this money and time and effort and carrying costs and risk to like, and managing the project and
Going down. How often are you going down there? By the way, how often?
I mean, this Lakewood one, we were lucky because my project manager, my partner's guy, was like amazing, and we didn't really have to. I was there like 4 or 5 times, maybe.
No, it's great, man.
Like less than once a week. It was a great.
What
that
a
was
great
a
deal.
That was a
God.
great model. Like if I could do that over and
You
over,
can do
and over,
4 of these.
100%. Yeah, and so that's kind of what my goal is this year. Is like do 4 kind of like that, and like I mean.
But you found it.
I found it. I listed it, so we saved money on the list because like I don't take a commission.
You were in on the financing with it, I'm sure. Like
Yeah. So and the guy that I bought it with was actually a hard money lender himself.
Oh, okay.
So like I was gonna have him do the loan, and he was like, "Hey, why don't I just partner on this with you? I'm from Cerritos. I like this area. Like I kind of would like to. I have all this cash that I want to. I'll just do it with you." And so what was nice, and this is another thing that's good for people that are younger and maybe they don't have a ton of cash laying around. Like my total investment in that project was $45,000. I put up the.
What about the construction?
No, I didn't. He did all that.
Oh, you had somebody else. Put up
Because
the-
I found it. So I think this is a really good nugget for anyone that like is a hustler that like doesn't have like the Costa Mesa one, I didn't have enough money to, if we were to ended up doing the deal, that would have been a $300,000+ construction job, and my partner was going to put up the whole thing because I found the property. Mm-hmm. There's so much value in finding the deal because without the deal, there's no flip.
That's most
There's
of it.
nothing.
Yeah.
And so these guys that are super successful, that have a lot more money and more experience, they're golfing while I'm prospecting.
Right.
So if I know the right people, I can go, hey, buddy who's golfing, who has all this experience and money and financing power, I just found a phenomenal deal and it's in escrow with me. And if you make me a 50-50 partner, I'll bring you in on the deal. I'm going to put up X. You're going to put up the rest. And we're splitting it 50-50. And they go, sure. Because why not? They don't have to do, the hardest part is already done. It's a deal.
No, you're right.
And
You're
they
right.
want to do deals. And they're like, okay, well, I'll make 50 or 100 grand. I'm like, sure. They're like, yeah, we've done it in like 10 weeks. Let's do it.
Yeah, they have the money.
And they trust me because they know me and I've had a relationship with them or I've done deals with them
And
or
they
whatever.
do the due diligence on the property.
Yeah, and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
this is a great deal. Absolutely.
Right.
And so like my whole thing is like the more of these that I can do, I can prove the model and I can say, this is just like that one, and this is even a better deal than that one, and we're actually going to save money here because we're not going to do that. So that's why the development thing, like long term, like building specs and
I would love to get into
partnering
that
with
too, yeah.
custom home builders, and that would be so fun because then the flips, you're restrained by profit margins and you're trying to pinch pennies and you don't want to use marble because it's too expensive, this and that. Whereas if you find like say in an area like Newport Heights or Dover Shores and these Newport Beach single family like neighborhoods, if you find like an old 1950s original home that it can just be torn down, that land in some of those areas is worth $3 million. and you could, maybe you don't tear down, maybe you do, but even if you do, I mean, there's plenty of developers who are owner builders who are building specs for resale. Like they are building it, they're flipping, but it's a development. They're building a home.
From ground up.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like a much bigger situation than a flip, but it's the same principles. It's the spread. If you find the land and you know that next door just built their house last year and it sold for $7 million and you can get this for 2.5 and build for 2.5, well,
So,
it's going to take a year, maybe
Yeah.
more, but there's a $2 million margin.
Yeah.
So if you have a good partner,
There's
and
more money in it,
and
but
you
there's more time.
you're walking away with, it's going to take maybe a year and a half.
Yeah.
And after commissions, you might be walking away with $500,000 to $800,000.
Sounds
But
like more than that, though.
that's
Yeah.
probably,
Yeah.
I'm always like overly conservative because
Yeah.
it just lower expectations make the whole thing better. But I mean, that's not a bad, if you break it down monthly, I mean, that's not bad.
I'm making $700,000 a year. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty
And what's
and
nice
that's
is
one deal.
and when you get that big chunk all at one time, you do have a lot of you can do a lot with that.
100%.
Like not a lot of people make that much money all at once. So even if you make that annually,
But then you got to run your whole life that year without all that money.
exactly.
And that's the problem.
Exactly. I might be selling a car either way.
Yeah.
It might be a nicer car, but I still might be selling it.
No,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, anyway, man, thank you for that was a master class. That was a class, not master class yet. Not master
yet.
class yet, but he'll get there.
That's
eventually.
episode
But
70.
yeah, we'll get to once he's a little more experienced. We'll get into the master class on flipping. But that was some good experience in flipping, and like I said, it was the purchase price. It was
You
the purchase
make it on the
price.
purchase. You really do.
Yeah, you make it on the purchase. So, again, that was a good little story about flipping. I'm going to head into probably our last topic and something that I like to discuss a lot, which is we work so much and we work so many hours, and just the family dynamic, the work-life balance. Earlier, you were telling me your calendar is filled up with dinners and stuff like that.
everything.
If my wife's listening, I don't know. It's hard for us to go out to eat.
Yeah.
Your kids are pretty much the same age as my kids.
Right.
How are you doing it?
Well,
Because you work.
I'm like
how many hours do you work a week? Let's start with or
so
does it vary? Or
I just don't. I don't keep track, to be honest. I wouldn't even be able to tell you.
What's your day like? Yeah.
Like okay, so like yesterday, it's almost kind of embarrassing to say because I probably should work more. But
no.
I do drop off. So we leave the house at 8. I drop my daughter off at her school, by like 8:30, and then I go to the gym. I usually get there by 8:45 or whatever. And then the reason I say I don't know how many hours is because at some point between 8:30 and my workout being done at I don't know 10 or whatever, just depends on who I talk to or how many calls I take or if I'm being lazy or whatever. Like this morning I took 3 calls at the gym. So I'm at the gym but I'm working.
Half working.
And that was
half
kind
working,
of
half working out.
Yeah, I'm getting a good workout in, but if one of my clients calls at 9:30, I can't not pick up the phone because I'm at the gym. It's they're gonna be what? It's 9:30.
It's like working hours.
Yeah, go to the gym at 6.
Yeah.
Stop being lazy.
Well, I'm at the gym at 6:45.
Yeah. Well, so the problem is
Yeah.
when we moved. So we just moved. We bought a house in Costa Mesa in October. We moved 5 miles further inland, which is breaking our hearts, but it is.
Dude,
what it
you
is.
guys
It's
are living
first world
my
problems.
God. Seriously.
So we were living on
Oh,
16.
no, we can't see the ocean.
It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
Yeah, it really is.
I
Tell me about
say
it.
some of these things. I'm that is the dumbest. That is so.
The
dumb.
guy from freaking Turlock.
Yeah, the guy who had drove a Chevy Cruze and only wore Lululemon and had no money. I made $20,000 at when I was 25. It was brutal.
I'm sure that was miserable. Yeah,
It was brutal.
Poverty line right there. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But anyway, so we moved, and so my daughter's school is more on the side of town that we were living in, and my gym I work out on Lido at Curl.
Oh, it's traffic too, right there too.
Just everything. I'm
Right.
I'm not gonna if I got up early. Let's say I got up at 5 and I went to the gym, and I've been contemplating this.
You could
Don't worry.
change gyms, but
I know. There's a whole.
There's a ton
I
of
know.
gyms out there.
Bro, believe me. I think about this every day.
everybody has a bench press.
You're gonna love it. Okay, so I went as far now to I was like, I have a business coach. Shout out to Angie Wisdom. She's amazing. And I was like venting about the move and about being like having to like drive so much further and have to like, I used to live on 16th and my office is at the end of 16th. So it was like half a mile. It was like ridiculous. I couldn't.
Borderline walk.
It was.
Yeah.
I used to ride my e-bike to work in the summer, like a
This is the real estate
like
shop.
a bum.
This is the yeah.
That's my office. Like I have my own personal office
got
that's
an
separate
office.
from.
Oh, okay,
And
cool.
it was incredible. I was like, it was the best thing ever. I could go home for lunch. I could go home, go to the bathroom if I wanted to. Like it was literally like a 4-minute drive.
Yeah.
Now it's like a 15, 20 minute, depending on traffic and harbor and 405 and whatever. And so now I don't really have the luxury. Like once I'm over there, I'm probably not going to come home until I come home for good. Because I can't stand like time just evaporating drives me insane. Like I'm so type A in that way where I'm like, it makes no sense to drive back and forth.
You can make calls. I listen to podcasts on my way. Like I enjoy that drive. Actually,
Believe
it's
me,
short.
I know. So I'm trying to adjust.
Yeah.
And so what I did is, so I do drop off. I go to the gym, and I go in my workout clothes like to drop off, and then I go to the gym, and then I shower at the gym because they have a shower. And then I just change into new workout clothes, like to fresh workout clothes. And then I go to my office where I put up like a closet. Like I put up like a whole like hanging situation with like shoe. I have like half my wardrobe at my office.
Oh, okay.
And so like
you're not fully changed yet, basically.
Right. So then I'll go to my office. Like, so today I came to my office, changed into this, and my workout stuff and everything is in my office. And then at the end of the day, I'll take this off, leave it at my office, put that back on, go home. Because I can't stand like, and so then all my dry cleaning, I'll go like, I'm just going to, when this stuff needs to be dry cleaned, it'll get dry cleaned and it'll go right back to my office. It won't even go to my house. Because I'm like, why do I need it at my house?
That's where you change at the office. Yeah.
Right. If it's on the weekend or whatever, I'm going to go to my office anyway if I have like showings or open house. Anyway, so I don't know how I got on that subject, but we were talking about
work-life balance. Your calendar's filled up.
Yeah. Okay. And yeah. So.
And you're talking about how
you said how much do I work? How much do I work? So
Yeah.
I went to the gym, took some calls, whatever. And then yesterday was a good day. That like I was in my office pretty much all day. I went and like picked up food really quick, but I'm trying to find a few different properties for a few different buyers, but like I basically met with my title rep last week and we were able to generate like a really specific like 16 homes in Dover Shores. They were all non-owner occupied. They were all over 8,000 square feet lot. They were all between like 22 and 2,700 square feet, like super specific because I have this client that I like, if I find this, like they're going to buy it. And it's, these things are worth, the ones I'm talking about are worth from 3.5 to probably like 5. So it's like, it's just free money. It's just like out there in the wind, and it's like just go catch it.
Right.
Find it, and they're gonna buy it.
That's the work that you got to put in.
And you have to do that. And so like I just was at my office all day, just just cold calling, just trying to basically cross-referencing the address with who's on title, Googling that, finding phone numbers, trying the phone numbers, going on Instagram, LinkedIn, like just trying to connect the dots.
I know exactly what you're doing.
Exactly, yeah.
That's putting in work. I like that, yeah.
And it's inefficient. A lot of people will be like, that's so inefficient, and it is. However...
How do you get more efficient then in that?
Well, the problem is I think efficiency oftentimes requires
but these people's numbers are
less specificity. Yeah. I'm so specific on what I'm looking for that the inefficiency doesn't really bother me because I've been able to dwindle it down to such a small group of homes that those 12 homes might have taken me three hours to like be able to try to contact, and I haven't even been able to contact all of them because I'll probably have to door knock some of them because if I can't get a hold of their number, and if they're non-owner occupied, they might be tenants, so I have to talk to the tenant, and then they're going to be like, get out. Well, I don't want to. They don't know. I don't want you to sell our house. We want to live here. So it's like, anyway. So yeah, it's inefficient, but it's also very specific. So it takes longer for every house, but I'm only talking about 12 houses. I'm not talking about 1,200 houses. If you're talking about 1,200 houses, there's dialers and there's mailers, and you can do that. Yeah. But I'm looking for like a needle in a haystack.
Right.
And so yeah, that was my day yesterday, and I left the office pretty late yesterday. I didn't get home till like 7:45, which isn't like normal. Usually I leave around like 5:36. Mm-hmm. But that's like a good day. That's like when I'm not being distracted by life, which goes back to your question. It's it's so hard to do that. Like our job is so flexible that I think our spouses, it's hard for them to I want to be really delicate with how I say this. I think sometimes they don't respect, because we don't like sit at a desk and we like, it's like some people that are in like a corporate situation, like they might not be able to just be like contacted at any point of the day. Like they can't just call, right?
They're
They're
go
like
to the front desk
in board
to the-
meetings
yeah,
or this,
yeah.
or they're in, they're a doctor and they're at the hospital. Like they can't just take their phone or whatever. Whereas like our wives know that like our whole life is on our phone. So
Right.
like if our phone's ringing, we're looking at it because we're hoping it's a borrower or a buyer or a seller or whatever. So they know they can get a hold of us. So they do for like everything.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to like prospect, and they're like, hey, so-and-so has dance. So-and-so has a doctor's appointment. So-and-so, da-da-da. Do you want to get lunch? Do you want to get coffee? Do you da-da-da? And sometimes I'm the one being like, hey, do you want to get lunch? There's nothing wrong with that. There's,
Right.
again, going back to the balance thing. But there's days that turn into like too many days that turn into like weeks where you're like, I haven't worked because I've been at 16 doctor's appointments and dental appointments and who God knows
This
what
guy's
else.
playing. We're doing this.
And I'm
this.
just like, oh my God, you gotta let me work. Like when I say work, it's prospecting. Because if I go out and connect with all these people and they tell me what they're looking for, if I don't carve out time to go look for the house, the connection is kind of like, unless they buy something on market and they're cool enough to be like, hey, come show us this place, which isn't very often because usually people just are going to try to go right to the listing agent. Like, unless that happens, I'm not going to close a deal. So like, I got to be able to carve out time to go, hunker down in my cave and just do my thing. Otherwise, there's not going to be any deals for anyone to buy. And so the work-life balance thing for we have so much flexibility. I think you have to be your own boss, which sounds like that sounds.
You're talking about your own boss in your own house? Or?
Just in everything. Like if you're a realtor or a lender, like you own your own company, you have to be you're the CEO of your own company, and
Right.
no one's going to tell you what to do or when to do it or how to do it. They're not going to tell you when your numbers aren't where they need to be. They're not going to tell you when you're not making calls. No one's going to say that. So if you don't keep yourself accountable or figure out some kind of accountability system, you're going to be like me a lot of times where it's like, I know I should be working more. I know I should be doing this, and I'm not because I'm wherever. And then I justify it sometimes because I'm like, well, I'm connecting. And it's like, that's true. But sometimes it's a little, you're like, okay, you're getting a little too long of a leash here. Like you've been connecting for like 2 weeks. You need to go connect these people with homes,
Right.
because otherwise it's like, so that's, in that way it's tough. And like going back to the question about dinners, I mean, I look at her and I both like understand.
These are weekly?
Oh, I mean, if I showed you it's like dinner, like Friday, Saturday, Wednesday, like lunch, because how else am I going to, that's how
you guys carve out your time together, basically?
No, that's business stuff. Like
I'm talking about you and your wife.
Well, but that's the thing. Like our dinners are like with clients.
Oh, it's you, your wife, and clients.
Yeah, or like clients and friends who are clients who are friends.
Oh, yeah.
Friends that might be clients, friends that might know people that are going to be clients. Like a lot of our social interactions, there is that kind of central.
But she joins you on all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I do lunches and stuff. I'll do like lunches and coffees every now and then. But like
That's nice.
Because if you think about it,
But you include her, and that's.
Yeah, because she's
but
my.
that gives you like a lot
like
of time together.
Well, yeah.
Kind of.
I think I would see it like that, but I think she would be like.
She doesn't see it like that?
Well, she would be like, going to dinner with anyone, whether they're clients or anyone, is not like.
Going with me.
It's not like one-on-one time. So then we have to then. So like this, like anytime there's like an open Friday or Saturday, and it's like getting kind of like close to the day, like it's like Tuesday or Wednesday, and it's like, oh, we don't have anything. I'll be like, okay, we're gonna do dinner. No one else. Just us.
Pick up a babysitter or something.
And yeah, like my mother-in-law or a babysitter or whatever, we'll just do that. And it's not easy, but like we just try
it's
to.
Tough.
We make it a priority, because we'll go crazy.
Babysitter's getting expensive. Ours just literally like doubled in price.
The whole thing, everything's, and that's like, again, I kind of tend to be like more. I try not to think about stuff. It'll just freak me. It'll just stress me out. I'm just like, oh, that went up. Oh, okay. Like my photographer today was like, hey, I've been in super high demand, so like here's my new pricing, and I was just like, all right, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what am I gonna do? He's a phenomenal photographer. I'm happy for him. Like,
So
I'm just gonna pay
so you guys
extra.
are able to still carve out some time together, basically. I mean,
Yeah, we try to.
I guess I have the opposite issue. I work a lot of hours, but my hours are not. They're a little more consistent than yours. I work.
Yeah.
I work, I don't know, 8:30, 9 to 7, 7:30.
Yeah.
I'm home at 7:30 to 8 every day.
Yeah.
So it's
I
tough.
probably should do that.
Yeah, I know. And I'm still. Yeah.
If I want my 4 flips, I should probably do more of that. But
yeah, so I'm trying to figure out how to.
Well, maybe that's a good way.
Yeah.
Maybe she
Bring my wife. She would actually enjoy that, actually.
Well, and
she would enjoy the dinners. I don't do dinners with clients, though. I'm not.
Okay, but see, that's where you're thinking, like, I do.
Or friends.
I just think of everyone as
my friends. The thing is, my friends are friends. Like, they're not clients. And no, I take that back.
So maybe you need to.
No, some of them are, they're friends before they were.
Right.
Before they were clients, they were friends.
But, like, okay, so let's say your friends that you would go to dinner, that you would want to go to dinner with, that you're like, they're not clients. They know what you do. They hopefully support you. If they, let's say they're a friend in your class, they're like at a mommy thing or whatever, and someone says like, oh, we're looking to buy a house. And then one of them, who your good friend is, goes, oh, so-and-so is a lender. Like, you should reach out if you guys need to, like, get pre-approved or if you need to know how much you qualify for or whatever. And then they're like, oh, really? Great. Okay, thanks. So then that person reaches out to you. Okay, and for me, I would be trying to go to dinner with the friend that referred you just because they're friends, because you like them, because I like getting together with friends.
Right.
Not for business, but so that, like,
kind of for catching up almost.
Just catching up, but inevitably the friend that you're catching
keeps the connection going.
It keeps the connection,
yeah.
So that when that lady does say that, it goes, oh, we just had dinner.
My friends would love this. I'm gonna take them out to dinners and pay for all their dinners and all
bro.
that.
Like we go on. I try to go on vacations. Because it's like I want to do life. I want to work with people I like, and I want to I want to live with people I like. I want
to be with people I like. People I enjoy being around.
Yeah, and I want to do business with those people because
right.
usually it goes better that way because they trust you, they like you, they don't think you're trying to screw you over. You're not screwing them over. Everyone wins, and then you're like, dude, if I tell this to all my friends, we had lunch with a good friend the other day on Sunday. It was great. And she was like asking about how many hours I worked. It was so funny. And I had the same, I was like, oh. And I go, she's like thinking about getting in the business. And I was like, I think do whatever you need to do. I think that's great. I would support you. You could work with me. I could teach you whatever. But I'm like, or you could refer me flips or refer me deals. And you could do it like in a more structured manner without people. So when people don't know you're in the business, they let their guard down and they tell you a lot of things they're not going to tell you if they know you're in the business. So if you're some random lady who just like is, stays at home with the kids or whatever, and you're at the park, they don't think no one's thinking that you're like listening. But if you are, and then you're like, hey, that's so funny you mentioned that because our good friend, we go to school at he's a realtor and like he actually buys houses like all cash, like that are so like it sounds like your aunt who passed away, like sounds like maybe it's in like pretty rough. Oh my gosh, it's like disgusting. She was a hoarder. Da da da. She's like, yeah, like he'll buy that. Like he'll just buy it. You don't even have to worry about anything. If she becomes my advocate, and I even told her this. She lands that. I'm like, oh, I'll give you like 25 grand, or I'll take us all to Hawaii, or whatever. Like I will turn.
Because I wouldn't have it without you.
Exactly, and I'm gonna make sure that you're taken care of in a way that is significant enough to where you don't want to get into the business, but you are in the you're benefiting. You're benefiting from your connection with me, and in turn, you're like either making a lot of money that you don't even have to like do anything. Like all you have to do is make the connection. And if it happens, done. Here you go. And we can go to Mexico. We do whatever you want. We go to dinner, we can go to a cruise, whatever you want. I want all my friends to do, and some might be like, oh, that's so like, like slimy or that. And I'm like, fine. I really don't care what anyone thinks, honestly. But I think
but that's a job.
My
Connector
friends
is a job.
100%. My friends, my wife, they support me, and if they're really a friend, I don't think they'd have any problem with speaking up if they actually know that I'm competent and I can come through for that person that they're gonna, vouch for me for. And I want to make sure they're taken care of, and then some, because I want them to keep doing it. And if I can build that around me, and so that's what I'm saying. Like your friends, like you're like, oh, it's like. maybe you should do more dinners with them, because then you're more top of mind, and then they're gonna, and then you become friends with. So then your borrower.
I'm already all over the social media.
Well, then your
I'm already
friend,
top of mind. They
because
see me all over the place.
Your friend
They're tired of me.
who tells your friend, that's now your friend. Because now you have a mutual connection. Now you guys can all go out to dinner.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna. It's this. Now I'm starting to sound like a multi-level marketing guy. But like then that new friend might refer that friend, and now you like start to have this.
No, I know. I mean, that's
just basic. But like,
that's basic life.
But
almost,
that's where like
that's where,
because I don't want to be in the office all day, and because I'm like massively ADD, and I'm not super disciplined as far as like my schedule, I almost err on the side of doing more of those things, because it ends up being like work, but not. You know what I mean? Like we can go out, and I put a lot of effort into making those things happen. Like we schedule park walk dates. Like we'll get like 4 of our friends together that have kids, and like all of us will go on a walk on like a Saturday morning, and then we'll go to the park. Well, all that is just connecting with a bunch of local people who all own homes and all know a lot of people. And I'm not sitting there like pitching them. I'm just there, and they know I'm in real estate, and we're just chopping it up. And how's your job? How's work? How's this? How's baseball? Blah, blah. And inevitably, they're like, they know I'm the guy. And
my wife does stuff like that. It's funny, but I don't. She does this Tustin mom walk thing, but it's only moms, so I'm not. It's usually I'm either there. I'm staying home with one kid, or I'm just not going at all.
Right.
But,
well, I'm not going to go on the mom walk either. but her knowing,
but it's similar, her
being your advocate in that situation, and also being a direct
and
beneficiary of any business she can generate. And that's what I've been telling my wife. And she's like, well, I don't want to like sell to my friends. I'm like, if you look at it like that, then you're not. But don't look at it like that. Yeah. You do what your husband and you have a family business, essentially. You provide a service. Those services are needed by some and not needed by others. There's nothing wrong with telling someone about the service you provide, because guess what? They might need it. And they might be really happy that you shared the service you provide with them, because now they have a connection with this person that they like that happens to provide the service they need. Yeah. It's basic stuff, but people they get all in their head, and they're like, well, they're going to think
be a sales guy,
right? They're going to think that I'm just friends with them for money, and it's like, hey, if they want to think that, that's fine.
Everything's about money. It is what it is. I mean,
and it's all about your delivery. It's all about your delivery. If you're thinking that, you're probably going to come across that way. But if you're like, no, I'm just advocating for myself and for my family. Like some people get a paycheck from a company, some people don't, and the people that don't have to speak up. And if someone doesn't like that, then like I'm probably not going to do business with you, and I'm probably not going to do life with you, and I'm okay with that, because you're probably not someone I'm going to connect with. If that's how you feel, you probably have a very different perspective on the world that I do, and we're probably not going to connect. Mm-hmm. And we won't even work together well anyway, so that's okay. Mm-hmm. But the people that do respond well, they're probably the people that we have a lot in common with. We have shared mindsets, shared values, end up being friends, end up whatever. And it's like, what else is there in life? Like we all just go to work, eat, go to sleep, whatever. It's like, you might as well make it fun. Right.
Well, obviously, we got to make money somehow. And like I said, I'm all over the social media, so my friends. But yeah, you're right. I do need to get more into the dinners I need to get more into the connections. Actually, that's kind of why I started this podcast. So I'm going to bring all these people that I know or that I don't know, to get to know them a little bit better. Hopefully, this was an opportunity. This was a great opportunity, actually. I got to know you a lot better. Yeah. Then
this won't be in the newspaper, but it'll be somewhere.
It'll be on YouTube.
It'll be much more accessible than the OC Register, that's for sure.
Yeah, it will be. I don't know who even watches
the
client
that reads my client, he's in his 60s, so that tells you the demographic.
That's probably the minimum age.
I literally was like, Tom,
those are probably the young guys.
I don't even know how to get a newspaper. He was like, I'll save this one for you.
Yeah, you're right. I don't even think, I don't even get them anymore, actually. No. I used to get them. But anyway, we covered a lot today, Blake. Appreciate your time. We're going to we're going to wrap it up here.
Yeah.
It's been a while. I don't know how long we were going, but it felt like it was quick.
Where are we at, Sergio? 148? That's over 2 hours.
No,
right?
It's an hour and 48 minutes.
60 minutes.
So anyway,
I thought you spent 148 minutes. I'm like, oh my gosh, we could have watched Oppenheimer.
Yeah. Well, thank you everybody it's been, hour and 50 minutes about. Blake, I learned a lot from you. I can learn a lot from everybody. So that's what the whole podcast is about. I'm trying to learn from everybody. And a connector, I learned about being a connector. We learned about flipping. We do need, a lot of margin on our flips and getting our flips off market. I'm getting hosed by wholesalers. Thank you guys so much. I can't get a deal off of you guys. I get a long page. Of properties, and they're literally all overpriced. I'm like, I can't make like $5,000 in 10 months. Or
and their
6 months.
ARVs are like nowhere accurate. You're like, how are you gonna?
And they all need like major rehab, and they're all obviously they're a dump and they're full of trash. So
yeah, and not to hate on wholesalers. I mean, I get it. You're doing a job, and
it's a great job, and it's a lot. Wholesaling is a lot of work, and that's another.
But they're the winners. The wholesalers in that deal are the winners because they're making the margin, and so then it's kind of like
some wholesalers,
and some are still decent. Like some people, I know a lot of people that have gotten deals from wholesalers.
There was a deal, and I told him to come down. Sorry, I know I was ending it, but really quick, there was a deal. There was a deal I was trying to purchase a duplex in Compton, like last month actually. The wholesaler's fee was $40,000. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, you just took away. I'm only gonna make like 35. You took the 40.
Right.
Like, I need you to come down to like 10.
Right.
I've paid wholesalers. I paid like 10. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're going at maybe 15, 20 on a, but this was 500,000, so
right.
550.
Oh, that's a big fee.
Yeah, it was going from like 570 or whatever to 610, whatever it was. It was a lot.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, we're not. We're at 550 to 590. Actually, that's what it was. 550 to 590. I was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
So,
but like going back to the collaboration thing really quick is like, I think everyone can win. Like that's what we're all talking about. It's like
I was trying to get her to win. I was like, I want you to get this deal, but I want to help me buy it from you.
Right.
You're taking all my money and I'm giving it to you.
But also, like your listeners and all of us in the room, like we all drive around neighborhoods every day. We all know those we all walk around our neighborhood on a walk or whatever. We all go by the same house every day that looks like no one lives there. And you're like, that place, they don't do their yard. It looks like no one. Send someone the address. Send someone like us the address, and then we'll make you a partner in the deal, or we'll at least make it really worth your time to send that address.
Yeah.
Because without people like that, like we're not going to get the deals. And so like you don't have to be a wholesaler. You don't even have to be licensed. If you know someone who does flips, and like I do, and it's like send Andrew the address.
I don't do them, but
and then
I'm really
I
trying
will
to
take care of everyone.
Yeah.
Like if I make because here's the whole beauty of it. If it's off market, the margin's going to be larger, which then allows me to pay people. Rather than paying wholesalers or paying whatever, I'm paying the people that gave me the deal. So then everyone wins because I still have enough margin, and they're getting money that they otherwise wouldn't get for doing nothing new. They're just having their eyes open. They're just having their, they're just, instead of just walking by that house, they're like, hey, I heard that one podcast. We should just send this address to Andrew. Yeah. And then Andrew sends it to me or whoever, whatever. And I'm like, hey, man, I don't know, but we need to get it for this. And if we can sell for this. And it's like, reach out to okay, great. They'll sell it to us. Done.
Right.
But it's like, you don't have to be in the business. You just have to be like looking for the opportunity.
Yeah. And if anybody has a property out there that needs work, call me. I also comp properties out for a lot of realtors. I comp properties. And obviously for you people out there that aren't in the business, I comp properties. I can let you know roughly how much it's worth if it's like a beautiful fixed up property.
Yep.
But again, sorry we're gonna end it. We're gonna end it now. But yeah, so again, Blake, thank you for coming.
Thank you for
almost
having me.
2 hours. Again, appreciate your time. I know you're a busy guy. Got to get back to prospecting. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Get back.
Got a lunch.
Get back to your office and hunker down, man. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.